get that inferior border. Not in a drinky way. Okay, so we've got pancreas here. You guys don't know that yet, but here's that tissue of the inferior right in here. So that's our next image. Now where am I going to go? Home? Yes. To the bar? Where are we going? Mid, you got it. So I'm going to move my probe, and you guys are used to sliding with that aorta, but I'm actually going to do that push and scoop and kind of sneak under her sternum, her bone structure. So go ahead and take a breath in and hold it. Okay, we've got a little bit of aorta. We may have to get rid of some of our depth. We'll call this midland. Now, do I need to take 2 images for this?
No.
Why not?
Because you can see the borders.
You got it. And then sliding out laterally again. Go ahead, big breath in and hold it. And then we're going to get all the way out in this lateral. And eventually this is just going to disappear. Do I want this as an image? No. Show me some meat and potatoes. So you're going to have to come back a little bit. It's just over here. So and this gets kind of boomerang looking or kind of triangular. And in this case, do I need 2 images?
Yes.
Yes, I do. All the images. And then we're just going to slide immediately down and collect that inferior. How are we feeling so far? So IVC, pushing and scooping to that mid, moving under that costal margin to getting that most lateral. We had to take 2 images for the medial and 2 images for the lateral, but we didn't have to do it for the mid. Okay, annotation time. What am I annotating?
Transverse.
You got it. Now this becomes a little bit trickier because your probe's going to want to slide along that rib cage and end up more in sag. So you want to make sure that you're not too sagittal, but you can have a little bit of angle to your transverse. So go ahead and big breath in and hold it. So I'm all the way up, so we're at the area of the heart, so I'm all the way in the thorax. We're going to start to come down, and we're going to start to see, this is my lateral border. We're in the dome area, there's nothing really going on. As we creep down, we're going to start to see vessel land, so there's some hepatics going through. You might see some portals going through, and then we're going to scan all the way down, and eventually, you don't know this yet, but we're going to get to pancreas. So the border that's really important in here, go ahead and breathe, is going to be this lateral one. So how do I collect that lateral border? I pay her for it. I move my probe towards that shoulder. Okay, when you're ready, big breath. Oh, and go ahead and breathe. There's a significant amount of depth change as we go through. So if we look at sag, see how deep this portion of the left liver lobe, and as we get more to that inferior portion, it becomes very superficial by the pancreas. So we're going to have a lot of depth when we're doing the dome area, less depth at the mid, and very little at our inferior. Okay, big breath. Okay, so here we are all the way up in the thorax. Coming in, we're collecting that lateral border. So there's our first image. Coming down again, and the left liver lobe in this kind of mid area, it's a little bit more triangular shaped. So we really want to make sure that we're not cutting off even the smidgiest, because this is your street cred, right? You want to look cool with your friends. Okay, good. And then this is stomach, right in here. We're seeing some water maybe, little bubbles. What's that? That's okay. Okay, so big breath in. Here we are. We're at the superior portion. I'm angling my transducer inferiorly and laterally to her left side. We're going to end up in vessel land here. We've got a little bit of a hepatic, just kind of showing those features. We may see a portal. Whatever you want to show me is fine, but we're just showing those features. And big breath in again. It's hard to be an amplification. And then as we get all the way down to kind of this pancreas land, we'll go up a little bit more, so you're showing me a little bit more meat and potatoes, but I'm going to get rid of some depth. And that's our left liver lobe. Questions? Feeling cool? You're all very good liars. Okay, great, okay. Now when I transition from the left liver lobe to the right liver lobe and my patient doesn't have a breath in, I automatically know I'm going to have to deal with my depth. I'm going to have to add depth. The right liver lobe is a much deeper organ, and when we change depth, what other buttons do we need to worry about?
Focus.
Foci, you got it. Go wherever that button is. I'm not.
Next to your depth.
And then, what else do we have to worry about? It's very deep. TGCs or possibly 2D. And we're still not there, are we? So I'll kind of preemptively make some adjustments, knowing that, hey, while she's not breathing, I'm not wasting my time on her breath, fiddling with my buttons. I'll be like, hey, how's it going? Beep, 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 beep. Okay, when you're ready, big breath in, hold it. So I'm going to do the sweep for you first. So here we are at the IVC. I'm going to angle just slightly to the left of that, or right of that IVC. Right? Here's my superior border. You'll notice our inferior is cut off. So we're going to go, so anterior, posterior, superior, inferior. So we're going to sweep all the way through, looking for hairy scaries, and we're going to take our 4 images. Then we're going to come down and angle to see that inferior, gallbladder, right kidney. And if we get bowel gas, we're going to move a little bit more laterally and posterior, and we can see that. Go ahead and breathe, and I'm actually going to have you take this out and put it right over here. That will just kind of stretch everything out. Okay, we ready to party? Is everything correct?
Annotation.
Nice catch. Yep, my annotation is correct. So Sag, right. And when you're ready, big breath in. So IVC, sweeping just slightly to the right of that IVC. Image 1 for my mid-medial. Image 2 for my, so medial, then medial. And that's it. We just go ahead and breathe. We're just going to take those images as we go. Now, the most lateral aspect, we're going to look for hairy scaries, and unless there's a hairy scary there, I don't want to see an image like this. Show me something with some news to it. So we did 4 across. So we did IVC just slightly to the right of IVC. So there's our medial. And you can actually see this hepatic kind of cruising. The more inferior this hepatic gets, the more laterally we are. So here we are, IVC. This is going to be our medial, mid-medial, mid-lateral, lateral. And you'll notice too that when we see the hepatics in length, we're going to, or the hepatics in length, we're going to see the portal veins in cross section. So IVC is back here. We're going to follow this hepatic. Which hepatic will this be?
Right.
Yes, you're correct. And so when we see these hepatics in length, we're going to see these portals and transverse. They're going in opposition. Okay, so we did our 4 across the top. So we did our medial, we kind of pushed and scooped. Did our medial, our mid-medial, our mid-lateral, and our lateral. And then what do we need to do to see that inferior? Where does my hand need to go? Follow the rib cage down towards the inferior. And when you're ready, big breath in. Okay, so we got gallbladder in the way. He's kind of in our way today, but he'll be there from time to time. So we've got that diaphragm, so we want to make sure we have enough depth to evaluate for pleural effusion, and a little bit more right. Let's go to and so we want to make sure we have that inferior border is being shown. So we've got our medial, our mid, and our lateral. Now, oh my gosh, we end right here at Morrison's pouch. That is so weird. Why do I care? Why do I care? Ascites?
Fatty liver.
Fatty liver. So the diaphragm is going to be our key for the pleural effusion, but this guy we're going to look for fluid in here and do a comparison of echogenicities. The other nice thing about this image is this is where we're going to do our measurement. I want to first show you something. Okay, go ahead, big breath in. And it just so happened when I finish evaluating this right liver lobe inferior, I just so happened to end right at the mid-clavicular line. Isn't that amazing? Almost like I go ahead, breathe. It's almost like I planned it. So it's going to be the last image of your protocol. We're going to put some calipers on there. So where's my first caliper go? Superior, posterior, right? And we want to make sure we're inside the diaphragm, just on the where that parenchyma to the liver starts. And then we're going to go next one. Anterior, inferior. You got it. And there's our measurement. And the one I skipped over because I'm an idiot is going to be our other measurement. Let's do that real quick while we're there. Think about it. So for sagittal liver lobe for the measurement, go ahead, breathe breath in. It's just exactly midline. So in this case, let me go over. So it's just such a large liver. So I'm midline on my patient, and I have to know where this end is. You kind of follow it with your finger. Well, use your brains. And out in the real world, you have what we call wide scan, where you can actually widen this. The Philips has it. I think the GE has it. but we're going to do just an actual superior to inferior in this case. So inside that diaphragm to that inferior margin. Shea, you're measuring off the screen. Yes, well, our machines are stupid, so that's how it goes. But out in the real world, we have some tools for that. Okay, so now we're ready for transverse right lower lobe. So what are my levels? Besides left and left, gaming, all that stuff.
The dome,
Dome.
hepatic vein, empty
Kidney land. So we're gonna start kind of up top. Same reason like when we had to go to those more inferior windows, we had to follow that costal margin. So we're gonna be able to get our dome and our hepatics, possibly subxiphoid. We may have to kind of creep down to get those other inferiors. There's also on some patients a really amazing window, which is lateral subcostal, where you can get all four of these. I know, it's amazing. So just try your windows out. Okay, so when you're ready, big breath in. Okay, so here's IVC. So how do I get this border? What am I gonna do with my hand?
towards the
Shoulder,
right shoulder.
towards your shoulder. And then just press it tight. I'm gonna have to use that special window. So dome, so we're all the way up, dome. Start to see our hepatics come in. So everything from here over is left lower lobe with IVC. Going to come down, we're going to see that main portal vein, and he's actually going to cross the IVC. We're going to add depth for this image. And then eventually we'll get down to kidney land, making sure that we have this border included. But she has that special window. Her special window works well, so I'm going to use the special window. Some people have the slidey window. Other times you can roll your patients and just try to get that liver to fall. Okay, when you're ready, big breath in. See your special window. So IVC here, we're gonna go up past the hepatics. And sometimes this gets a little bit of dropout. As long as we can see that dropout. As long as we can see that border isn't cut off, we're good to go. So dome, coming down into hepatic land, coming down eventually into portal land, or portal land. This is a left portal vein. We don't want him. We want the one that actually crosses the IVC. Oh, no, yeah, that wasn't one. There he is. Don't ask me. I've never done this before. And now we're down in kidney land. Maybe get rid of some of our depth. And there we go. Okay, so let's think about this. Let's think about our left. How did we start on our left? Sag. And what's our landmark from medial? IVC? No man's land, maybe aorta, and then just kind of the end of things. And then we did dome, vessel land, pank land. Now let's talk about this right side. We cut things off, right? So we had to go superior. We did a medial, a mid-medial, a mid-lateral, and a lateral. Then we slid down and did a medial, a mid, and a lateral, and that's subcostal. We did transverse. She didn't have a very good window because she's so tiny and cute. And so I had to kind of slide down and get all four of my images from that subcostal margin. You could also do, next week we'll work on it, what's called intercostal, where I can actually go into the rib spaces and evaluate. I'm going to leave you goofed up. Any questions? I'm going to run somebody over the chair. So I can look at all of your little faces. Any questions? All the questions? None of the questions. Lower my patient because I'm really good at patient care. Okay, I'm going to leave you goofed